Welcome to Tennis Breakfast, live from Melbourne on 5 Sports Extra.
Cannot wait for today. This is the match that we were looking forward to. Had they come through their first round encounters, which they did. It is a first meeting between the former US Open champion Emma Radacanu, 20 years of age. Ankle difficulty in the run-up. It seems to be fine against Coco Gauff, who reached her first Grand Slam final last year. She wants to make that breakthrough. Will she make that breakthrough? That match, ball by ball commentary, is on its way. But the big news so far today from day 3 was the exit of the defending champion, Rafa Nadal.
2 match points to Mackenzie McDonald of the United States to knock out the champion, the top seed, the 22-time Grand Slam singles champion, Rafael Nadal. 6-5, 40-15, McDonald serves and Nadal into the net. Sportingly, he played until the very last. He could barely move in that third set. Rafael Nadal, who won the title so spectacularly and so improbably 12 months ago, is beaten in the second round.
Rafa Nadal is out through Iga Swiatek, Jessica Pegula, Maria Sakkari, Felix Auger-Aliassime, Yannick Sinner, Francis Tiafoe, and to come, one of Emma Radacanu and Coco Gauff. Emma Radacanu has made her way out of the bathroom. She's got that multicoloured top. It's been covered by a long sleeve white top that she's wearing over the top. Coco Gauff has just bumped mum and dad. She's out of the gym. The big headphones are still on. They are on separate sides of this holding area. One quick look at the phone, maybe to adjust the music, Annabelle, as these last few moments, everything is set. This is the match that everyone wanted to see. Radacanu saying she is probably not the favourite, but this could be a great rivalry for years to come.
Oh, I think so, and I think even Emma alluded to that, didn't she? She said we are part of the future, and it's a really exciting time. And they've made different journeys, and obviously Coco Gauff, even though she's the much higher ranked player, she's made steady progress, hasn't she? She's been much more consistent than Emma. Emma's had this enormous rise right to the top to win a slam so quickly and so early when she'd hardly played very many sort of pro matches out there on the tour, and there she is with that Grand Slam title at the US Open already under her belt. And then obviously a difficult year last year, a bit of a rocky road, but I feel like the pressure is off her, and I think for her it's about as everyone's been talking about, getting the body fit, and that good work that she's done with Jez Green, trying to get it fitter and stronger to be able to cope with the demands of life on the tour, and hopefully less retirements out there, and to be getting her out on these big stages and playing the great matchups. I mean, this is an exciting moment. As you said, Gigi, both of these girls love the big stage. They will embrace it.
And it's so nice to see the smiles. Coco Gauff chatting with her dad, smiling away, the one side of the headphones off so she can chat with him, and Emma Radacanu in great spirits with physio Will Herbert. I mean, she's sort of almost doubled over laughing at times.
Yeah, it's nice to see that smile back again, because I think for a part of last year it had sort of disappeared, and I know a lot of the press people were saying, having spent so much time in press rooms with her over the course of the last 12 months, that actually things they felt had shifted quite a bit, and that she was a lot less happy around the tour. But I think you're right. I think she's just in a good place now, and it's nice to see Will Herbert there, isn't it? I mean, he was part of that huge win at the US Open, so great that she's still got some of that team left.
So moments away, they will start the walk down the corridor of champions. You will hear the heartbeat, and the crowd will welcome both players out onto the Rod Laver Arena. We've got ball-by-ball commentary coming up. We're going to keep an eye on the action in the Margaret Court Arena, together with all the other courts at Melbourne Park, because due to the rain, they have catch-up to do, and this is also the day that the doubles gets underway. Rossa, would you say there's so much talk about this? The players are about to get set to walk down the court. Are we overhyping this? Is the hype justified ahead of this match?
I think you have every reason to be excited, and I think that those who are running the sport, particularly on the WTA side, would be absolutely delighted, A, if a big rivalry materialised in the women's game, and B, if it was between these two players. Now, that doesn't mean others won't have their say. Iga Swiatek looks like she's going to win many Grand Slams over the years to come, but we need rivalries, and I can't think of two better characters than to step forward and provide that rivalry.
Coco Gauff started heading off down the corridor of champions, but then she was pulled back because as the higher seed, she will be introduced second onto the Rod Laver Arena. So she stepped to one side, and then Emma Radacanu, who put a sort of khaki coloured teal jacket over the top of her white top. She's got the lilac skirt. She has a blue on the visor. Coco's going to help me with the colours later because she knew yesterday I'm terrible at this side of things. But
I don't know, you're doing a good enough job.
Right. I mean, I know it's radio, we can get away with these things, but there'll be other people around me going, what is she talking about?
I think Emma's top is like sort of moss sage green.
So we had sea foam yesterday from Coco. We've got moss sage. This is why I should not be doing this part.
No, you should. Everyone sees colours differently. It's almost Wimbledon colours, but not quite. It's purple and green.
It is. It's sort of an off green, if we're talking Wimbledon green. But here we go. The heartbeat, the countdown, the introduction of Emma Radacanu. She's at the top of the steps. She will now make her way down. She pauses for a second and makes her way down into the arena. Just a second appearance at the Australian Open. Reached the second round on her debut last year. And just her 7th Grand Slam main draw appearance to highlight, despite being Grand Slam champion, how relatively new she still is at this. She takes the chair, the bench, nearest to the entrance to the tunnel. Now to her opponent.
Coco Gauff.
She's younger, but she has a few more appearances. This is her 4th Australian Open appearance. She's also the 2nd seed here in the doubles with Jessica Pegula. She made a top 10 debut in singles in September of last year. She is the only teenager in the top 50, and she is on a winning streak of 6 matches won, none lost after that title in Auckland. So she walks to the far side and settles herself. Very shortly it'll be the centre of the court that go through the housekeeping, and the warm-up will begin. All eyes on this contest, and Coco, as in every player in every match, both will be looking to get off to a good start. They will want to establish themselves and lay down their marker in this contest.
Absolutely. The first couple games is all about just getting your feet underneath you, getting a lot of balls in play so you can get any extra nerves that are going through your body out as quickly as possible.
Yeah, because I think it's fair to say, isn't it, whoever you are, whatever you've done, Grand Slam champion or not, there will always be nerves when you go out onto an arena like this.
Yes, I always felt like if I wasn't nervous walking out onto a court, there was something wrong. So any match, no matter what court, a side court or stadium court, I've always felt nervous for the first couple points, if not the first game or two.
Emma Radacanu has been at the net for a couple of minutes now, just twisting the racket around in her hand. When the white top comes off and there's all the multicolours underneath, I will be leaving that to Annabelle and Coco to describe. We've had the photo and now just a little bit of the housekeeping, just running them through exactly what's taking place. And Annabelle, there's the jumping up and down. We'll see a little bit of shadow swinging. They just want to get to the respective back ends of the court and start the warm-up.
That was pretty impressive jumping from Coco Gauff there, wasn't it? I mean, she has a lot of spring. It was very Nadal-esque, but the height that she was getting off the court, and that just shows you the energy and the spring that she's got in those feet. And she is an amazing athlete. I mean, when you watch her around the court, she's so smooth, the way she glides, she's so quick off the mark. And I know that in her pre-season, she said she's been working a lot on that transitional game and trying to get to the net more. And we know how successful she's been in doubles. I think 6 titles and 2 Grand Slam finals as well in doubles, and that has really helped her singles. So I'm just wondering, tactically, are we going to see her venturing to the net at all in this match? She may not get a chance to get up there if Emma's really striking the ball so well from the back of the court.
There are so many intriguing things about this match and how it plays out. And Russell, we heard you speaking to both of them, but with regards to Emma Radacanu, have you felt or seen or noticed her change when you're speaking to her? Do you find she's a little bit more open, or has she gone the other way? Has she become a little bit more guarded, and does she feel relaxed coming into this Australian Open?
There's a huge difference to the Emma Radacanu we are seeing now to the one that we saw on tour and had conversations with at the start of last year, Gigi. It's a really welcome change. At the US Open that she won, of course, everything was free and easy for her. She didn't seem to be feeling any pressure. She was a delight in the news conference room. I think she actually quite enjoyed coming in to talk to the world's media. And then she won the title as a qualifier and everything that entailed. And there's no question, for the first 4 or 5 months of last year in particular, she was struggling in my experience, and I didn't enjoy the experience of talking to her as much. And those news conferences, there was tension in the room. Now, everybody generally is more relaxed and they're prepared to perhaps wipe the slate clean at the start of the year, but she has been very happy, speaking very eloquently and seemingly full of optimism on the couple of occasions we've had a chance to speak to her so far. And you commented on the pictures of her backstage there. She does seem super relaxed, and I think if I were Coco Gauff, I'd be worried about that, because a relaxed Emma Radacanu, who feels that she's got nothing to lose, as we know from past experience, is a very, very dangerous player. The question is, can she be consistent enough against a player of this calibre? And that remains to be seen. She's never beaten a top 10 player, let's remember.
Very much looking forward to what is going to unfold on the Rod Laver Arena with every ball to come. Elsewhere, Bianca Andreescu is in a second set tiebreak against Buxa. The qualifier took the first set Andreescu by 6 games to 2. We are still playing, which is good news. Karen Hashanov is up against Jason Kubler, a set and 4-2. We've still got the resumption of Kokkinakis Fanini, the winner of that, to face Andy Murray tomorrow. Kokkinakis 2 sets up, 4-2, and points for 5-2, and that was suspended. And Cameron Norrie, the British #1, now his last match on the Kia Arena, is he even going to get on court today? We don't know. It might depend a little bit on the weather. We'll keep you up to date with that. And Barbora Krejcikova has come through against Clara Burel, the qualifier from France, in straight sets. We'll keep you up to date with everything that's going on. Don't forget, you can keep an eye on the BBC Sport website. There will be live text, and also on BBC Sounds. You open that, and headlining there is this match here, the headline of the night session. It is Coco Gauff against Emma Radacanu for the first time. It's second round of the Australian Open. We're almost set for the first set to get underway, and you'll be in the company of Annabelle Croft, Coco Vandeweghe and Russell Fuller.
Let's hope we can warm you up this icy UK morning. A very special match in prospect. Let's see whether it delivers when Emma Radacanu has come up against top 10 players before. She has lost on the 2 occasions, but certainly was not swept aside by Iga Swiatek on the clay of Stuttgart last year, when Swiatek was on that 37 match winning streak. 6-4, 6-4 the score there. And neither too by Jessica Pegula in the Cincinnati event before the US Open last August. It was 7-5, 6-4 to Pegula, and those two are now, along with Ons Jabeur, at the very top of the women's rankings and looking arguably like the 2 favourites for the title. Coco Gauff will feel as if she deserves to be mentioned in that breath as well, as the world #7, a Roland Garros runner-up. Very consistent after reaching the French Open final. Disappointing end to the year. I think she rather ran out of steam. In fact, lost her last 5 matches, including all 3 at the WTA finals. But she could not have started better in Auckland by winning the title, her 3rd WTA Tour title, having won as a 15-year-old in Linz in 2019, and then in Parma in Italy a couple of years later. So real anticipation. The roof remains closed. There's obviously the threat of showers this evening. Generally, even though tomorrow's going to be a fairly murky, cloudy day, it's forecast to be dry, I believe, and for the next few days, maybe the chance of the odd shower, but nothing like the rain that was forecast for today, which was never particularly heavy, but was persistent and prevented the mopping up operation taking place on the outside courts. Here we go then. Coco Gauff to serve, and catching her ball toss, as we have seen from her on a few occasions before. But she's ready to go now, and she's hitting a backhand. She's wearing an orange headband at the far end, Coco Gauff. The backhand from Emma Radacanu, the British #1, the world #77. Forced into her corner, Radacanu, and just punching a forehand into the net with this lilac skirt and a top which is full of all the colours of the rainbow. Lilac, white, orange, red, blue, yellow, and probably quite a few colours that you'd never see in a rainbow. But it's very colourful, and it's brightening up a dreary day here in Melbourne. Gauff with a first serve into the net. She's won the first point of this second round match at the Australian Open. Again, struggling with the ball toss. Coco Gauff, the 18-year-old, who's been as high as #4 in the world rankings. Backhand replied from Radacanu, and there's a backhand into the net from the British player, just squatting down but not catching all of that.
I like that Emma's been making every return coming her way. This is a great way to settle into the match. I know she's come on the losing end of the last 2 points, but if you're not making returns, you're unable to get into the point. So just get settled and get playing.
The serve is a big weapon for Coco Gauff. Again, racket on ball by Radacanu, but well-directed serve, and that was heading downwards off the backhand of Radacanu, and It collided with the net about halfway up. So comfortable, confident start here for Coco Gauff. 3 game points at 40 love in the opening game of this second round match. The winner will have the advantage of probably in the third round playing an opponent who won't end up playing their second round match until tomorrow. Backhand return from Radacanu, and that's into the net from Gauff. So Annabelle, she's on the board, Emma Radacanu.
Yes, I'm sure there's a lot of nerves for both of them wrangling through their body. But as Coco in the box said, good to see her making connections and getting a lot of balls back into play. And obviously, return of serve is a huge weapon for Radacanu, which I think is why Gauff's, just making sure that ball toss is absolutely spot on.
Into the net with the backhand goes Radacanu. So Gauff holds in the opening game to 15 and wins the first game of the match. Now, tell me what happens backstage on a rainy day like this, Coco, because we were commenting on the fact that Cameron Norrie is due to be like 5th match on the Kia Arena. The winner of Emma Radacanu against Coco Gauff plays either Zheng Xinwen, the fabulously talented 20-year-old from China, or Bernarda Pera. Now, they're scheduled in the final match of the day on court 3. We're not told that any of these matches are cancelled yet in the singles, but they wouldn't be on until after midnight. Surely there's a point where, do the players know they're going home and it just hasn't been formally announced?
Well, usually the tournament informs you, okay, we're not going to put on another match after 11:30 or whatever time they designate, and the players will be informed of that, and usually as late as possible. The tournament doesn't always do such a great job of keeping us informed. I know the schedule came out past midnight last night, and I would hate to be a player playing first up at 11 o'clock knowing that the schedule came out at midnight.
I suppose if you are those players, you don't actually need to come into sight because you can see the way things are going. I mean, there comes a point where obviously you have to, but if you are still 3 matches away, as Radacanu starts with a double fault, then maybe you can make a common sense decision.
No, of course, you want to keep yourself as fresh as possible. I know that's really difficult, and staying away from sight is a good way to do it. Also, just finding a quiet area. The Australian Open has a lot of quiet rooms, lots of different gyms to be able to go into, and you just want to try and find maybe some sort of couch to keep your feet up so you're not just too bored. Maybe bring a board game if you like to play board games. I travel with a backgammon board, so that's what my team and I like to play.
Another miss serve from Radacanu. She tried to go down the tee. This is a good deep serve. The forehand return from Gauff and a bit of a flyer from Radacanu on the forehand. So a nervous start by her, and she's love 30 down on serve.
What Emma has to get used to really quickly out here is the Rod Laver Arena is the slowest court out here in Melbourne. So she's got to find the distance, find the timing of Coco's shots, and get her feet in position.
Love 30, tennis breakfast live from the Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne. We're on BBC Sounds. 5 Sports Extra, day 3 of the Australian Open. Rafael Nadal is out, beaten in straight sets, hindered by injury by Mackenzie McDonald, the world number 65, who was terrific from first ball to last. There's a point on serve for Radacanu, who aims that serve into the body of Coco Gauff, and the American puts a backhand into the net.
Body serves are always a good play as to find your range on the court. You have so much box to hit into. And with Coco, she, as quick as she is, she's got very extreme grips on her forehand. So to get out of the way and to be able to get the racket through the ball is going to be difficult.
15:30. Radacanu to the forehand of Gauff. Radacanu stepping inside the baseline, hitting the backhand powerfully, and it's good enough to win the points. Gauff cannot time her backhands, and 30 all, Annabelle. Still quite a few empty seats on the Rod Laver Arena at the start of this night session, with Stefanos Tsitsipas and Rinky Hijikata of Australia to come. Forehand cross-court by Radacanu, hit powerfully, well defended by Gauff. Forehand Radacanu, Gauff with the forehand with a bit of air. Gauff's backhand, Radacanu's backhand cross-court. A backhand from Radacanu onto Gauff's forehand, that's down the centre, but it's long, and Radacanu has won 3 points in a row.
That was great hitting by Emma. She did a great job. She puts her whole body weight into that forehand. She gets up in the air a lot of the times when she is hitting that forehand, and it was a great job by her managing the deep balls from Coco's replies.
Good response by Radacanu. 3 points in a row from love 30 down after the double fault in her opening service point of the match. 40-30, wearing a blue visor, Radacanu. Good backhand return by Gauff. The forehand from the American onto the forehand of Radacanu. Gauff's forehand is long, and Radacanu has ruffled off 4 points in a row.
That is going to be the side that Emma's going to want to pick on. Coco Gauff's, her forehand is the weaker wing. Her backhand is so solid. We saw it on the first day when it was Kids Day when she was hitting with Francis Tiafoe. She beat him down with that backhand cross-court rally. So it's not the side that Emma wants to go into. So if she can keep picking on that forehand, she's going to get a lot more airs.
One game all. Good serve by Gauff, unreturnable. At the Australian Open, Coco Gauff made a big splash, as she did pretty much every tournament she played, on her debut, 4th round in 2020. Beat Venus Williams, beat Naomi Osaka. Went out to the eventual champion Sofia Kenin. Backhand service return by Radacanu, a good deep one, and Gauff nets with the backhands. Whereas Radacanu is playing here for just the 2nd time. On her debut last year, she beat Sloane Stephens, and then with that blister on the palm of her hand, ended up playing a lot of slices just to try and stay in the match, but was beaten in 3 sets by Danka Kovanic. Long again goes Gauff, and now Radacanu with a little opportunity at 15-30 on the American serve.
Emma's doing a great job right now of keeping herself steady along the baseline, not getting pushed back by Coco Gauff's shots.
Gauff right in front of us. Down the tee, but misses. Black skirt, white top, and that orange headband. Little bit of orange trim on the tennis shoes as well. Radacanu unleashes on the forehand second service return. Forehand from Gauff with plenty of air. She's working her way back into this point now. Radacanu down the line with a forehand, and that's into the net from Gauff on the back foot. Fabulous hitting from Radacanu, and she has the first break points of this match.
That was a fantastic play, taking advantage of the second serve opportunity and hitting it down the line, keeping the ball in front of her. That's such a great play to do, and I love how she took advantage and was keeping the ball straight ahead and in front of her.
Break point number 1. Gauff, ace, down the tee. Coco van der Wey is in the box with us. Qualified for the main draw here. Has had a pretty horrendous run with injuries, but is a 2-time Grand Slam semi-finalist to date. And hopefully a fair few years left to add to your Wikipedia page. Into the net with a forehand, Radacanu, so the second break point has been saved.
That was good intent by Emma. She was looking for the forehand, just didn't quite get out of the way for the shot. But it's great intent to show that Coco can't just roll in that second serve. She's got to do something with it.
So the first opportunity of the match was presented to Radacanu. She created that opportunity. It's been saved by some good serving by Gauff. We're back to deuce, but this serve is long from the 18-year-old who is living in Delray Beach in Florida, like a lot of tennis professionals. Into the net with a forehand return, Radacanu. I would say a lovely place to train, but it must be a pretty horrible place to train, but it has the desired effect, doesn't it, in that humidity?
Well, I enjoy San Diego too much. I'm a California girl, so I'm going to say California is a little bit better than Florida.
Yeah, it's a drier heat there, isn't it? As Gauff into the body again and has dug herself out of trouble with some excellent serving and has held from 15-40 down and saved 2 break points. And Gauff leads Radacanu by 2-1. To come later then, Stefanos Tsitsipas against Rinky Hijikata of Australia, as I mentioned. Daniel Medvedev will be playing John Millman on the Margaret Court Arena. That's the first match of the night session. Slightly delayed because of a longer afternoon session in which Maria Sakkari needed 3 sets to beat Diana Schneider, the Russian. Felix Auger-Aliassime had to come back from 2 sets to love down to beat Alex Molchan of Slovakia. Madison Keys then went through against Wang Xinyu of China. Also on the schedule tonight, Danielle Collins, last year's runner-up, against Karolina Mukova, and we'll have the best of the action for you here on BBC Sounds. So how are you enjoying the BBC Radio commentary box experience, Coco?
I've been enjoying it. It's been a lot of fun to kind of see the other side of the coin out here. You guys definitely have it a lot easier than we do out there on the court, but I'm very happy I'm only doing one match a night and not having to do as many matches as you guys. It's a lot of talking.
Yeah, it is. You don't think you've got the talking stamina yet?
I don't think so. I don't think so, and hopefully, you know, it's a nice break with my American accent. It's not too harsh.
No, you've got a nice American accent. I don't think you have a particularly harsh accent, although there are some American accents which do come across in that way. I agree with you. Do you have a Californian accent that I should be able to detect?
I would imagine I do. I was born in New York, so I do have some different sounding words that I get made fun of from my friends, because my grandparents also lived with me. My grandfather was from New York, so I heard it all the time as well.
So a bit of a hybrid. 1-2 down, Emma Radacanu, swinging a backhand cross-court here. She's serving again, and now the forehand, trying to hit in behind Coco Gauff, but actually missing, pushing that forehand wide.
That was just a little bit of Emma just respecting Coco's speed a little bit too much. She needs to just pick her first shot, whether that's open court and Coco's running that way or behind her. That one looked like she second-guessed herself just a little bit.
Love 15, the one that got away. Radacanu trying to put it to the back of her mind now. Serves. Backhand return Gauff. Backhand Radacanu. Gauff's backhand. Radacanu hits the backhand to the forehand of Gauff. Cross court to the forehand once more by Radacanu, but excellent depth this from Gauff, who's hitting freely on that forehand wing. Backhand cross court from Gauff is terrific. She's buried that in the corner, and she has love 30 now on the Radacanu serve.
That was great resilience from Coco on the other side of the net. We know that her backhand is deadly, and she was able to just lean into that shot, get her momentum going forward, and hit an incredible angle right on the line.
That is 6 points in a row for Gauff. She's love 30 on the Radacanu serve for the second service game in a row. Backhand return by Gauff. Radacanu's forehand cross-court. Gauff with a meaty forehand return of her own, and it's just long from Radacanu, and she's 3 break points down.
It'll be interesting to see how many times Emma just has to play into the forehand. She's really focusing on that. You've seen it these last couple of points, and so far she's just been not quite on the winning end of it.
Three break points for Gauff. Radacanu's first serve into the net. Second serve, break point down. Radacanu saves the first one as Gauff misses her opportunity, fluffs her lines there by putting a forehand into the net. So already some opportunities. Radacanu with 2 break points in the last game. Gauff has 2 more here in the first meeting between the pair. They did practice once when they were around about the age of 10. Radacanu's a year older than Gauff. At the Orange Bowl, the prestigious junior competition in Florida. Forehand from Gauff. Can she get the break of serve here? Forehand from her down the line to the Radacanu backhand, which is netted. And just a few more errors in the earlier stages by Emma Radacanu. And that's why Coco Gauff, who took her opportunity in the way that Radacanu was unable to make the most of being at 15-40 on the Gauff serve, leads by 3-1 first set. We're getting used to seeing the face of Sebastian Sachs in her box. Some of the other faces are very familiar. Excellent serve by Gauff, well returned by Radacanu on the forehand. A backhand now from the 2021 US Open champion. Forehand hit by Radacanu. Gauff having to reach for that. She drops the ball short. Radacanu goes a little bit short herself, but can still win the point with a volley at the net.
That was a great transition by Emma. I know that slice was probably the first opportunity that she should have come in, but she'll get used to that kind of pace of play of Coco and expecting the balls to come short when she does hit a good forehand down the line.
Love 15 on the Gauff serve. Forehand return, Radacanu. Gauff with the forehand. Radacanu's backhand to the Gauff backhand. That's down the centre of this court, right towards us in the players' box. Excellent forehand by Radacanu. On the attack now. Good defence too by Gauff. The loopy backhand from Radacanu is landed in. Gauff left it, thinking it was going to go over the baseline. Radacanu didn't hit it as cleanly as she would like, but she's got love 30.
I guess that's Hawkeye Live for you.
No challenges possible, no line judges, no replays on the big screen. We do lose a little bit of tension that way, but I think most players say they'd rather it was accurate. There's a low slice forehand by Gauff and a smart volley as Radacanu tries to pass her with the backhand.
15-30.
So love 30 on the Gauff serve for the first time now becomes 15-30. Gauff certainly trying to come forward as much as she can at the start of this new year. Cross-court with the backhand she goes here, Gauff. She's in the ascendancy in this rally and picks the spot correctly. Forehand down the line from mid-court, just as Radacanu feigned to move to her forehand wing.
That's a great example of what Coco Gauff can do when she's playing off of the first serve. First serve, she got a weak reply from Emma and was able to lean into that backhand, cross-court, big, high percentage play.
$30 all. Important game this, with chances for both players, but Gauff having secured the break. 3-1 she leads, 4-1's a very handy start, and she now has a game point to do exactly that, as Radacanu hits a backhand long.
Well, the best time to break is after a break. It's when the players sometimes can relax a little bit. Oh, I got the break. Okay, they're not as focused into their next service game. So we'll see if Emma can break back and get back on serve.
Backhand return from Radacanu. Gauff with the forehand, right onto the sideline. The drive volley into the net from Gauff. And the game remains alive.
See, getting the extra ball back always causes a problem. You never know how they're going to react. I know that was an easy swing volley for Coco, but she misplayed it into the net.
And there is an example of one of the cultural differences between us. Drive volley equals swing volley. And you use swing volley, please do. We use it occasionally too, but I like the fact there's a bit of variety there. That's an error from Gauff. Forehand into the net as she tried to come in behind that forehand, and Radacanu has another break point to try and get the break of serve back.
And the crowd is willing her on. She might have the crowd advantage for the first time against Coco. Coco's not quite used to that.
I think she probably does on the evidence of the early stages. Forehand return by Radacanu is a really good one. Gauff's defence is strong too. Forehand from Gauff with air on that. Radacanu's backhand. Forehand from Radacanu. Cross-court to the Gauff forehand. Radacanu misses with the backhand cross-court. And a third break point of this first set has been saved by Coco Gauff.
Unfortunately, Emma just let an opportunity slide by. She hit a really fabulous return. Coco was going to the slice forehand. That's a great opportunity to move forward and take the ball out of the air with a swing volley or a drive volley.
Long from Gauff. And that ball would have probably caught me on the right shoulder if the glass hadn't been protecting me and protecting the players from all us rabbiting. That is a fine return by Radacanu. She really went after it. Gauff nearly made the half volley from the baseline. Instead, though, it's a second break point of this game for the 20-year-old from London.
Emma's doing a great job. Anytime Coco has thrown in a second serve, she's being aggressive. Whether she makes it or miss it, she's setting the precedence that she's going to be aggressive.
Gauff long with the first serve. It's the way she played against Tamara Korpach in the first round. 27 winners, 34 unforced errors in a 6-3, 6-2 win for Radacanu. Break point again, second serve Gauff, backhand reply, but it's unnecessary. Because this time the pressure tells, and I think it was a lot to do with the way Radacanu is going after that second serve. The pressure has born fruit. And Radacanu breaks back immediately. Gigi back on serve with Gauff leading by 3-2.
You are listening to Tennis Breakfast. It's day 3 of the Australia Open. Lovely to have your company. Maybe you found us for the first time via BBC Sounds. We are your wake-up call for the 2 weeks of the Australian Open. Here with you every day, bringing you commentary of the night session matches, any other big matches. Brits, if they're in action, we'll have Andy Murray to come tomorrow. He plays tomorrow. We've got Emma Radacanu at the moment. The headlines from today: Rafa Nadal is out, a hip injury that had bothered him for a couple of days. It really came out in his match against Mackenzie McDonald. He didn't retire, he fought until the end, but the defending champion is out. Daniil Medvedev, two-time finalist here in that half of the draw, is just taking it to the court with his match against John Millman, the wild card from Australia. We'll keep an eye on that. I can tell you that the Auckland winner, Richard Gasquet, who beat Cameron Norrie in that final, he is out to fellow Frenchman Hugo Humbert, 6-3, 6-4, 6-3. Świątek, Pegula, Zachary, Auger-Aliassime, Keys, Sinner, Tiafoe, just some of the names of players through today. A backlog of matches due to the rain, which has now stopped, and the doubles competition got underway. Get in touch with us, hashtag BBC Tennis at 5Live Sport. It is something that we have heard from on the tweet from Piccolo, who says, enjoying the commentary this morning. Coco Vanderway, your accent is absolutely fine. Please do more talking.
Yes, we like your accent. We like your voice. We like you. You're very welcome at any time. I know you'd rather be the other side of the glass, but that's the way it should be for now. 2-3. Radacanu's got the break back. Forehand return from Gauff. Radacanu's backhand. Gauff with the backhand cross-court. Radacanu's backhand. Gauff with a forehand cross-court. Very deep in the court. Now the drop shot from Gauff. A little bit of height on that. And Radacanu hits it straight down the centre and right onto Gauff's racket. Really well played by the American. Radacanu runs back, actually gets racket to ball, but can only steer it towards the photographers and the camera crew.
That was a great hustle by Emma. She actually did what I probably would have done, which is the biggest target on the court, which is the player. Let them handle the situation in front of you. We saw that the other night with Andy and Matteo. Matteo was trying to be too cute on his match point, and when the biggest target on the court is, unfortunately, the player, if you do get the peg.
Yeah, that was a pretty shocking backhand by Matteo Berrettini, wasn't it? The pressure of the moment got to him. The chance had gone, and Andy Murray beat him in 4 hours and 49 minutes. He'll be back in action tomorrow. Still waiting to find out who his opponent will be as Radacanu goes long with a forehand. And having got back the break, she finds herself love 30 down for the third service game in a row.
Emma's got to figure out how to not let a bad shot burn her twice. Right now, she's getting herself into too many holes on her service game. You need some positive momentum. Even if it's 15-all, being down love 30 in the last 2 service games is really tough to keep digging yourself out of.
She didn't manage to in the last game, but she was love 40 down on that occasion. Did so first time around. First serve into the net here. 24 minutes played. 2-3 on serve for now. Love 30. Second serve Radacanu. Forehand return Gauff cross court. Radacanu with great power on the forehand cross court, and Gauff nets into the tape. Very nearly got another ball back in play.
That was a great hustle by Emma. Coco took a step back on that return so she would have a little bit more time. Emma's been picking on the forehand, especially second serve, feeling confident enough to go into that wing.
15-30. Radacanu's at the far end as Coco Vanderway and I look on. We're watching Coco Gauff. Her back is to us. She is hitting a forehand now. Cross court to the Radacanu forehand. Cross court goes the British player. Backhand cross court from Radacanu. Gauff down the line with the backhand, and that is wide on the forehand. Cross court by Radacanu, but that was down to the excellence of Gauff, who has a further 2 break points to re-establish her advantage in the first set of this second round match at the Australian Open.
Yes, Emma was just getting overpowered a little bit on that point. Tennis is all about how you handle plan B. What is Emma's plan B going to be when she is overpowered? We all know Emma wants to hug that baseline and be the one dictating, but what is she going to do when that opportunity doesn't present itself?
A great athlete with some big weapons was the way that Radacanu described Gauff before the match. A great athlete who's trying to get fitter and improve her balance by getting into the boxing gym. Forehand return by Gauff. She's worked into the corner by Radacanu. And Gauff has gone long, and Radacanu has saved the first of 2 break points against her. If you want to read more from Coco Gauff, then Jonathan Ureko, who you heard from a little bit earlier, is doing a column with her throughout this Australian Open. Will there be many, many more columns, or will Radacanu play havoc with BBC Sport Online's plans for the fortnight? Stay tuned. Breakpoint number 2. 30-40. Mind you, she's in the doubles as well, isn't she, with Jessie Pegula. Coco Gauff. Second break point for Gauff. This on a second serve by Radacanu. Backhand return from Gauff. Backhand from Radacanu right onto the baseline. Stepping in and hitting the backhand aggressively now, Radacanu. The defence is very good from Gauff. Radacanu is keeping a pin behind the baseline. And that is just long by Radacanu. She was getting closer and closer to that line, and that was the wrong side of it. Very little in it, but she's been broken again. So that is now 2 breaks to 1 in favour of Coco Gauff, who leads by 4 games to 2.
That was a great point. It was a good indication of how these two players are going to play. Coco was trying to throw up a ball a little bit higher, not give Emma the ball through the court, and Emma, with the change of pace on her ball, did not give Coco the same ball too many times.
Gauff serving, now trying to consolidate the break. She was unable to do so last time. She leads by 4 games to 2 here on 5 Sports Extra and BBC Sounds. Wonderful backhand down the line, onto the sideline by Emma Radacanu.
That was fantastic by Emma. She kept the ball straight up the middle. When you hit straight up the middle, you give your opponent no angles. Coco left that ball a little short. Emma stepped forward, took that backhand line. Fantastic playing.
(4-2). Gauff serving to the backhand of Radacanu, and that is long. Gauff turns round, pumps that left fist, not looking specifically in our direction, but pointing towards us as she walked behind the white lettering of the Melbourne sign that is a few feet behind the baseline. There's a fairly wide expanse of court between the word Melbourne and our commentary box, because there are big runoff areas here, but there's nothing else to block our view. No line judges anymore. Good service return by Radacanu, but Gauff is very much in this rally. She's coming to the net behind the backhand. The forehand volley from Gauff, and Radacanu passes her. Cross court with the backhand.
That was a 2-shot pass. Coco is a fantastic volleyer from all the doubles that she does play. Emma got that first volley down low to Coco's feet to her forehand volley, and Coco left that ball up. Emma was able to move forward and hit it for a winner.
15-30. High return by Radacanu. Crunch cross court on the backhand by Gauff, and that's just wide with the backhand by Radacanu. 4-2. 3 breaks of serve in a row. Gauff is just edging it at the moment. She is making slightly fewer errors. She's the slightly more solid player. Her backhand just brushes the net and lands in, so the rally continues. Radacanu with the backhand, it's just a little bit too long, and this is a game point now to Gauff for 5-2.
Coco's doing a fantastic job just keeping her nose in front, keeping the pressure going into Emma, staying in the advantage and not being too defensive against Emma.
4-2. 40-30. First serve into the net by Gauff. Catches the ball toss again. And that is a forehand that's a little bit wild by Radacanu. It was tracking towards Gauff, who just moved out of the way. And it was a little bit ragged in that game, ultimately, by Radacanu, having got herself into a promising position. And the scoreboard now tells a slightly different story. It's just the 1 break of serve, Gigi, but Gauff leading by 5 games to 2.
With 30 minutes on the clock, and for those waiting for news on Cameron Norrie, you might have to wait till tomorrow at this rate, because it's due to be the final match on the Kia Arena. Now, there are 5 matches. The second is the to-be-finished Kokkinakis Fanini to decide who is going to face Andy Murray tomorrow. But Bianca Andreescu was a set-up on the qualifier Cristina Buxa of Spain, but the qualifier took the second set on a tiebreak and they're locked at 2-2 in the third. So that court is going to run, and that's as long as the weather behaves itself, because obviously we've also got to take that into consideration as well. We're keeping an eye on everything else that's taking place. If you joined us via BBC Sounds, it's lovely to have your company. We are your daily dose of everything that's going on in the tennis world at the moment, with the great and good gathered in Melbourne for the first Grand Slam of the year. I'm just saying that Jason Kubler has won a 70-shot rally in his match. Now, in terms of TV commentary, he's facing Karen Khachanov and they've split the first 2 sets. That's fine. Imagine, Russ, if we were doing ball-by-ball radio commentary on that rally, we'd have passed out.
I've done 53 or 54 shots. Andy Murray
40.
against Borna Coric. First game, Davis Cup rubber in Umag, Croatia in 2013.
It leaves a scar on you, it seems. That was very specific.
Yeah, that was pretty much the first game, I think, of the entire Davis Cup week. Yeah, I remember that one. Radacanu is serving to stay in the first set now at 2-5. Forehand return from Gauff, the backhand hit by Radacanu, and that's long from Gauff. Do you have any idea what the longest professional rally you've been involved in, Coco?
Well, from the feeling in my legs, it couldn't have been more than 15 to 18 shots. There's no way I would have even lasted that long.
2-5, 15 love. Forehand return, Gauff. Forehand, Radacanu. Gauff with the backhand. Radacanu down the centre with the forehand. Gauff returns the favour. Forehand cross-court from Radacanu. And now she goes down the line. That's sweetly struck, but a fine reply with the backhand from Gauff. What a brilliant rally developing here. Radacanu hits the backhand in behind Gauff to win the points.
That was fantastic playing by Emma. I love how low she stays on every shot. She gets so low, and that is just fantastic. It must be all the boxing she's doing to get so low and stay on balance.
.30 love. Serving to stay in the set, though, remember. A fourth backhand winner, that for Radacanu. Her forehand, she's pushed back there by an excellent service return by Gauff. She's got a high ball to deal with, and she has just swept it away down the line for another backhand winner.
Flirted with danger on that backhand. It was a high backhand. It's hard to handle and hard to get that ball down onto the court, especially going line. When you take that ball cross court, you have more court to hit into, so it's a little bit easier, but credit to Emma for being able to handle that shot.
So 40 love. 2-5 down. The top 20 wins in her career at that US Open 16 months ago against Belinda Bencic and Maria Sakkari in the quarterfinals and the semi-finals, seeking a first top 10 win. And that's a point she's not going to win. Short second serve, forehand winner by Gauff. 2-5, 40-15.
That's all right. You're up 40 love. It's okay. Coco can get one good hit on the ball.
Yeah, it doesn't look too concerned for now. But we can see these advantages evaporate. Not, well, maybe this time round, because that first serve was just long. Gauff at the far end, the only teenager in the top 50 in the world. Radacanu with 2 game points. Serves, and she takes the game as Gauff nets with the backhand.
Emma's really got to lock in here, make lots of returns again, get back to what she was doing so get that break, or at least get those break point advantages on Coco's serve. Taking those second serves and punishing them. I know she missed a couple in the last service game, but it's just that constant feeling of pressure and knowing that if Coco is facing a second serve, Emma's going to pounce and crush it down the middle or for a dead winner.
They both had the 4 break points. Gauff has taken 2, Radacanu 1, and that ultimately is the difference to this stage. She's served a bit better, Gauff, and she's made fewer unforced errors, and that's why she's serving for the first set at 5-3 and now 15 love as Radacanu slaps a service return on the forehand into the net. So far, this is going broadly as I thought it might. Missed first serve in that I thought Radacanu would be very competitive. My fear was that she just doesn't have enough matches in the legs to be able to beat a player of the quality of Coco Gauff just now. But we shall see. Forehand from Radacanu. Just missing, but again, she's going for the line. She's going for a shot. Gauff 2 points away from the first set.
Well, every time you get put in these situations for Emma, the more experience you get. And as we've been touching on, Emma is just, even though she's a Grand Slam champion, she's so inexperienced when it comes to being at a Grand Slam, being on center courts all over the world. So the more you do it, the better you'll get at it.
Long from Gauff. So still interested in this game and this set. 5-3, 30-15. Yeah, Coco Gauff. There were restrictions on the tournament she could play until recently, but she has been out there, hasn't she, since the age of 15 and a quarter on Wimbledon centre court, whereas Emma Radacanu played that Wimbledon in 2021 when she was 18 and a half and hadn't played on tour until that summer. So in terms of matches played and Grand Slams and on tour, there's quite a gulf, even though Radacanu is 16 months older. Forehand down the line from Gauff, it's wide, so 30 all. Gauff 5-3, she's not closed out this first set yet.
Emma does a great job with how she moves her weight around the court. That first forehand, she didn't get herself off balance. She was able to keep her weight steady, and then she had a running forehand and kept her weight along the baseline. It's fantastic to see how she's able to do it.
5-3, 30 all. Forehand return, Radacanu. Gauff with the forehand cross-court. Radacanu reaching for this, but still in the rally. Backhand Gauff down the centre and long. And this is a break-back point now for Radacanu, the British #1, the world #77. But she has done something that Coco Gauff has not yet been able to do, and that is win a Grand Slam singles title. Break-back point, backhand return Radacanu. Gauff with the backhand cross-court, thumped away for the winner.
That was a great play by Coco. She put a little bit more topspin on that serve. It got high up on Emma's shoulders, and she's got the shot that she loves, her backhand cross-court.
Juice. Radacanu was reaching, feeling for that first serve, but was delighted to hear the call of out. Second serve, it's a good one, but it's worked very cleverly cross-court on the forehand with a narrow angle by Radacanu, who's now going down the line, and Gauff reaching out a racket, just gets the frame to the volley, and that was terrific again by Radacanu, a second break point of this game.
Better lucky than good on that return right there. A little bit of a mishit, but she was great to be ready for that ball that Coco got, was kept calm and made her passing shot.
Down the tee, Gauff. This is a 6th break point in total in this set for Radacanu. She has taken one of them so far. So she's created more opportunities than Coco Gauff. But she finds herself 3-5 down. Break back point here as Gauff serves. The forehand from Radacanu. Gauff's forehand down the line. Radacanu cross-court with the backhand. Gauff down the line with the backhand. That was wonderful.
That was great poise and confidence from Coco. Being down break point, having that low percentage shot with the backhand down the line, staying down through the shot. It was fantastic poise right there from Coco.
So juice again. These break points being saved by the American. Wonderfully well. A backhand reply by Radacanu. Her backhand is onto the forehand of Gauff. Radacanu's forehand to the backhand of Gauff. Radacanu's backhand just brushes the tape but lands over. Backhand down the line from Radacanu. Got Gauff on the back foot now. The drop shot from Radacanu with slice. Now she's pushed to the back of the court. The backhand down the line from Radacanu, who goes down the line with a forehand and finds a winner. Another absolutely brilliant rally here on the Rod Laver Arena.
Jeez, had every shot in the book. Man, talk about a quad burner there with every drop shot, every run back to the baseline. My gosh. All right, Emma, let's see if you can break here.
The quad burner, I like that. The RLA quad burner. Break point number 3. To break back in this first set, deny Coco Gauff the set, but not yet, because it was a handy first serve out to the backhand of Radacanu, and she's netted.
Emma's got to look for that. The last 2 break points Coco has faced, she's done a little bit of a spin, topspin serve into Emma's backhand, making sure she's getting that first serve in.
Chipped forehand return by Radacanu, just the wrong side of the baseline, and this now is the first set point to Coco Gauff.
Unfortunately, when you do have a long point like that, the quad burner, it can affect you for the next couple points. You don't have your breath caught up to you yet. You're not calmed down yet. So Emma will have to work hard to get back into this game.
Set point, backhand return from Radacanu right onto the baseline, and Gauff has gone wide. So this set continues after 42 minutes, and the set point has been saved. We go to deuce for a 4th time. I think we're certainly going to use that bit of commentary on our opening credits at subsequent Grand Slams.
Quad burner.
Deuce. Backhand reply. Radacanu squatting down to hit a backhand down the line. Gauff hits the forehand deep. Slightly shorter ball now for Radacanu. She's rallying very freely on the backhand. A 4th backhand in a row for Radacanu, which she hits cross-court. Now forehand cross-court, but just long from Radacanu, who was looking very, very threatening in that rally, but she's gone long, and it means it's a set point number 2.
That was very
Gauff.
interesting to see. Coco Gauff was throwing the ball a lot heavier, a lot higher into Emma's backhand. She was not willing to drive through the ball and get it into Emma's hip. She wanted it above Emma's shoulders.
Second set point for last year's Roland Garros runner-up. Good serve into the net, backhand Radacanu. Gauff made to work extremely hard, very entertaining. Lots of fantastic rallies. Radacanu trying to go for her shots as much as possible, but 6-3, no doubt. Just edged, a little bit more consistency, a far fewer errors. Coco Gauff takes the first set, usually by 6-3.
You're listening to Tennis Breakfast. Thank you very much to Russ and Coco. Second set to come. If you're joining us via BBC Sounds, welcome. It's a good place to go and find anything to do with the BBC, but especially the tennis, because we're with you every single day of the Australian Open. We will wake you up. We will keep you up. We'll keep you company on the school run. We will distract you from work. Everything tennis and besides. We do go off on some tangents at some stage, so make sure you stay with us for those. Lots of action elsewhere to tell you about. Cameron Norrie, I'm not sure he's going to get on today, is he? Look, his 5th match. They still haven't even completed the first with Bianca Andreescu in an almighty tussle in her 2nd round match. Daniel Medvedev, who's in the Nadal section. Nadal is out, leads John Millman 3-2, so he's got the break, and he's 30-15 on his serve. We've still got Stefanos Tsitsipas to come a little bit later. We're going to have commentary of that, and last year's finalist Danielle Collins will be on court, and there's so many more, and there's also doubles that's getting underway, so stay with us. Great thing about radio, just have us on in the background, in the car, in the shower, during your conference. It doesn't really matter. We've got 2 setups, Melbourne in the UK, and alongside me, Annabelle Croft, where is first set to Coco Gauff?
Yeah, that was intense. I mean, you could just feel the electricity out on this centre court between these two, and that's what always happens when you get a bit of a rivalry going and you get 2 great champions, 2 really big future stars of the women's game, and there's enormous respect. You can sense it between the 2 of them because you can sense that electricity that's going on the court. I mean, that was a terrific first set, but I think, as Russell said and Coco said there in the commentary box, a little bit more consistency from Coco Gauff. She's played at this very high level for a much more sustained period of time over the last year or so, and that's why her ranking's up at 7 in the world.
We've just got a slight delay to the second set as the spectators settle themselves into their seats. It gets to the point where they just say, just any seat. If you find a seat, just sit in the seat. They have done, and we're underway. And it's Emma Radacanu to start things off in this second set. The world number 77, a forehand that sits up short and high from Gauff, and it just misses side edge of the sideline. She thought she had got it. Remember, electronic line calling, so you can see a close call challenge, but that's about it. And Coco van der Wey, in our commentary box, what do you want to see more or less of from each of these players in the second set?
Well, unfortunately, Emma's unforced errors was a bit too high, like you were saying. It just really needs to get cut down. And I know it's difficult because Emma has to be the aggressor. She can't let Coco step in and dictate. So you are going to get a few more unforced errors. It was actually interesting to see. Emma came out from the set changeover way early, at least 25 seconds early. She went over to the corner, was talking to her box, maybe to figure out if the game plan was working, maybe get an extra bit of coaching, because there is coaching allowed now at the Australian Open.
30 love. Radacanu's bouncing the ball, looking across, looking down. Just one bounce needed before she leans forward, rocks back, tosses up that ball, slams it down out wide, stretches Gauff out wide. Then she goes back behind. It's a good play. It's worked before, and she moves to 40 love.
That was a beautiful service delivery, wasn't it? Sorry, Coco. Yes, she has a really nice service motion. It's very uncomplicated. She's really straightened up that ball toss. And, you know, a lot of times when we saw her winning that US Open, she used that serve so effectively out wide, getting a cute angle, slightly shorter reply, and then she puts away the winner.
Game points. Misses with the big serve out wide. Gauff, wide stance, like bend in the knees, just swaying of the top of both hands, gripping the handle of the racket. Now she's still, now she's on her toes, now she steps forward, slams the forehand, but slams it into the net, and that's a love hold. And Coco, that's exactly what Radacanu needed, just to settle herself into this second set.
Definitely. Even though Emma was on the losing end of that first set, it was still a very confident and positive set. She had a lot of opportunities to break back in Coco's service game, so she has to take that momentum, even though she did lose a set of, hey, I'm playing good tennis, I'm going to have opportunities, I just need to execute and capitalize.
Yeah, I'm sort of keeping a close eye on that forehand wing of Coco Gauff. I know Coco in the box picked up on the fact that she was playing quite a lot of high loopier balls towards the back end of the first set, which she managed to close out. But I always think, because you've already talked about the vulnerability on that side, I always think when she gets really tense and tight, she starts to roll up the back if it's more loft on it. And, you know, a couple of unforced errors in that opening game. I don't think it's looking particularly smooth at the moment.
We shall see how it develops. 48 minutes on the clock, listening Tennis Breakfast via BBC Sounds. Lovely to have your company. Commentary of Stefanos Tsitsipas to come. But right now, Emma Radacanu against Coco Gauff as they battle from the baseline. Clips top of the net from Radacanu. It drops off into the perfect drop shot. She holds her hand up in apology. Do you ever, Coco, mean those apologies?
No, never. I mean, it's all for the sport, and of course you're happy the ball dribbled on the opponent's side of the net and not yours.
Love the honesty. 15 all. Gauff with the orange headband, tightly tied round the white top with the black trim and the black skirt and the black shorts under the skirt, and the same colours running through the socks and the shoes. She's actually got her own pair of shoes. This was Coco Gauff brand of shoes that recently came out, as Gauff into the backhand plays the off backhand. That forehand is crunched up line from Radacanu, who's in control. Oh
no.
Until that final shot, Annabelle.
That was a horror. There's a few club players out there who would have quite enjoyed watching that one, seeing a top player can play a shank shot like that. She really didn't get hold of it, almost like she changed her mind on it. Just pulled right off it, landed halfway up the net.
30-15. Gauff, runner-up at Roland Garros last year, both the singles and the doubles. The forehand through the middle of the court from Radacanu. Radacanu with the double backhand. Still playing through the middle of the court they go. The backhand looping, sits up, back up the line from Gauff. Gauff with a double-handed backhand through the centre. The inside in from Radacanu is very deep from the brute. He plays another backhand. That's also deep. They're pushing this ball back. She wants to keep Gauff back, and then Gauff spins the forehand, but she spins it wide.
Yeah, that was an interesting rally, wasn't it? I haven't had too many like that, where both of them were going right up the centre. It was then Gauff who went into the backhand corner and rather shanked that forehand. She wasn't in the right position, didn't get her body or her footwork quite right. 16 shots that last rally. But again, I didn't think that forehand looked that smooth. I never think she's that confident. I think she has to work really hard with her mind and the technique to try and keep that forehand going.
The roof is on the Rod Laver Arena. The weather's been pretty rubbish in terms of from a tennis point of view and playing tennis without a roof, but they are underway outdoors, but they did kick off a few hours late. 30 or big point here now. Gauff steps inside the baseline with the backhand into the corner. But there, Coco is the strength, the backhand of Coco Gauff.
Well, I think the huge difference, Annabelle, between Coco's backhand and her forehand is her weight transfer. She gets her weight constantly moving forward for her backhand. Her forehand, she kind of pulls back, her weight starts moving back. And when your weight is falling back, you have a better chance to kind of shank it, miss hit, and not get the ball through the court.
Yeah, it's about her sort of committing to it, isn't it, mentally as well. And we know she's done so much work with that side, but under immense pressure, it sort of rears its ugly head a few times.
Game point for Gauff, who's down on her haunches with that forehand up the line. She sweeps the forehand cross-court, the American inside the baseline. They're being very aggressive. Radacanu still on that baseline with a deep backhand. Double-hander from Radacanu, cross-court to the double-hander of Gauff. Redirected up the line from Radacanu, who switches to the forehand and goes cross-court to the service line. Radacanu nets off the backhand side. And it is the point and the game for Coco Gauff. And that has got mum and dad on their feet, pumping the air, and it's a game apiece.
Well, also, those are those kind of mental mini battles in a rally like that. 19 shots. I mean, they're having some really extended rallies out here, but it was Gauff who hung tough there and gets the error from Radacanu, and a huge disappointment on her face and her expression after missing that one. And that seems to be just the difference between these two, isn't it? Just a few more errors. I mean, it was 21 unforced errors for Radacanu in that first set, and less than that for Gauff. But I think that's going to be the difference out here today.
You can also follow the tech service on the BBC Sport website. You've got some quotes from our commentary team in. They've got Jonathan Ureko, who you heard earlier, who's doing that column with Coco Gauff, listening to what's going on, painting a picture. So if you can't have the radio on, or someone's telling off, or your boss is lurking, just keep an eye on the website. Love 15. Radacanu just looks up and looks down. She's looking out from underneath the visor. Leans forward. There's just a slight pause before she rocks back on her heels and serves out wide. And the backhand in play from Gauff. Ooh, just didn't catch that quite right. Coco, she hooks it, Radacanu. Now spot a bother with an opening for Gauff.
Yes, definitely. Emma has to catch her breath here. I know that last couple of rallies have been really long, 18, 19 shot rallies, and that does weigh on you, when especially in the later stages of the set.
Love 30. Radacanu looking for this first serve, doesn't get it. Watches the ball fly past, takes the follow-up ball from the shorts she's wearing underneath the lilac skirt. Leans forward, rocks back, reaches, not happy with the ball toss. Conditions perfect because the roof is closed.
It's just tension, isn't it?
Second serve. Ooh. Oh, she got
going long. Yeah, that looked like it might not have made it, and did get a little bit lucky on that one.
Just to add to the tension. Second serve at love 30. Oh, it's deep. She pushes it deep. It's a double fault, and it's love 40.
Almost had too much time to think about that, didn't she, Coco?
Absolutely. It was like it was inevitable, kind of. We could all feel the tension building, and it just ended up in a double fault.
Gauff is waiting to pounce. Can she get the break? It wasn't the clean stuff hits. It drops short off the return of the forehand. Another forehand that drops mid-court as well. Allows Radacanu to step inside the baseline and win the point.
Well, that was interesting. After the double fault, she really just pushed that serve into play. No pace on it. Didn't want to make another double fault, so she just spun it into play. And then another unforced error from Coco Gauff's forehand. One that was lofted to start with and then found the net on the next one. It's almost like, she really has to force herself to try and get that racket head through and really commit to it.
First break point save, 2 to go. Ballers in play, backhand swept through the middle, the backhand down the line and deep from Gauff. It drops over from Radacanu. It's picked up from Gauff, but it is netted, and that is the second break point saved.
That was a fabulous get by Emma, hitting a squash shot. Coco just trying to be a little too cute with this drop shot here.
Still one opportunity for Coco Gauff. 7th seed has been as high as 4 in the world. That was in October of last year, but really made the major splash at the age of 15 at Wimbledon when she reached the round of 16. 30-40 wayward first serve, meant to go down the tee. Missed completely. Both ball boys nearly collide to gather that loose ball. Back they go. Here goes Radacanu, second serve. Third break point. Off! She went big off the second serve and she missed it by a way. There's a break for Coco Gauff. From love 40, she gets on her third opportunity. Confirmation she leads by 2 games to 1. And Russ, the good news is, because we can't see anything obviously from here of what you're seeing, that we've got a lot of matches to play. I can't see Cameron Norrie playing today, but the good news is they are still playing on the outdoor courts.
Yes, no further rain over the last couple of hours or so, which means that the Bianca Andreescu game continues. That is on the Kia Arena, and it's quite a tussle against the Spanish qualifier Cristina Buxa. It is into a third set, and it's the Spaniard who leads by 5 games to 3. A fifth set on the 1573 Arena between Brandon Holt, Tracy Austin's son, who had that great run and beat Taylor Fritz, having come through qualifying at the US Open, and Alexander Vukic, the Australian qualifier. It's 2-1 to Holt, and it's on serve in the deciding set. John Isner and Adrian Manarino have split a couple of tie breaks. It's 4-2 to Manarino in the third set on court 3. Roberto Bautista Agut is 2 sets and 3-2 up with the break on Joao Sousa. And yeah, it's a packed schedule everywhere you looked. Now, I don't know what happened in that last game, but that was out of character of the rest of the match, wasn't it? Radacanu played by far and away her worst game. 2 double faults, far too costly.
That has given the advantage to Coco Gauff. Should also say that John Millman's got the break back against Daniel Medvedev, and now the Australian wildcard leads on serve 4-3, so very early stages of that match. Gauff holding a position on the baseline, clips the top of the net, sits up for Radacanu. Radacanu now pushed back. Gauff still with that position. She charges forward on the approach, went for the pass. Radacanu just into the tram lines.
Well, that was the kind of play that we talked about at the start of this match as to the sort of practice that she'd been doing in the off-season about transitioning forward, and she didn't need to come forward on that slightly shorter ball, but she took a chance on it, a little bit of a risk, and Radacanu missed. But just the sheer pressure of that movement forward really eked out that error. Interesting to see her starting to try to move forward a little bit more.
On a 6-match unbeaten run, took herself off to Auckland, won the title, Coco Gauff. I think her longest winning run is 9 matches to date. Ooh, clubbed that from inside the baseline, Radacanu, but misses the court. Cries of come on Emma, both popular players on the tour. 2 minutes shy of an hour. It is 8:15 in the evening local time. Serve down the centre from Gauff. Flies long, and it's game points for the consolidation.
Yeah, she's just got to be a bit careful here, Radacanu, that she doesn't just go away and drop level of intensity quite quickly as the scoreline is just slightly going away from her. And Gauff will be really onto this, trying to take a quick lead here.
Yeah, she wants to get that consolidation. She plays a deep backhand Gauff. She gets towards a little fist bump, and that's exactly, Coco, what she was looking to do. Back up that break, have a little bit of daylight between herself and Radacanu in this second set.
Yes, absolutely. Coco right now just has to stay on Emma. She can't get complacent here. In her first round, she kind of got a little complacent. She was up a break, let that slip, and then ended up in a tiebreaker. She needs to stay focused, keep the pressure on Emma, hopefully maybe try and get into a double break here.
At 5 Live Sport, if you would like to get in touch with us, or you can use the hashtag BBC Tennis. Listening to Tennis Breakfast, many ways to find us, including via BBC Sounds. Just open it up and we are on the home page, bringing you Emma Radacanu against Coco Gauff, as Radacanu's up against it, a set and a breakdown, swings the backhand cross court, and on the slide goes Gauff, and Gauff to the other wing with the forehand side. Radacanu's moving Gauff from side to side, and Gauff now back to the forehand wing, goes cross court up the line, and Gauff with the double-handed backhand drops onto the service line through the middle, and the error comes off the racket of Radacanu.
Yeah, just too many unforced errors once again. I know we keep saying it, but a slightly more extended rally again. 12 shots that one, and it's Emma that's breaking down, just not quite keeping control on that racket face. Ball felt like it really flew off the strings on that last forehand.
Love 15. Not again happy with the ball toss. Gauff back into position, just swaying the top half of her body now. She brings the feet together. She steps up on her toes and slams the forehand through the middle of the court. The forehand flipped deep by Radacanu, who goes drop shot. Here comes Gauff. Gauff scoops it up, but she cannot get it up and over. She is furious with herself.
Well, that was a beautiful drop shot. Really nice to see a change up there. I think she feels she needs to just unsettle Gauff, who's getting into a bit of a rhythm and her stride out here. And that was a good one. I mean, Gauff is so quick, and she'll be furious with herself because she got underneath it. She just didn't quite control it to get it over the net.
And I've seen that there's a camera in the box of the players, and Coco's dad has got a towel and he swept it over it, so we don't get that. It's a weird view because it's sort of looking up their noses.
Yeah,
it's a strange one,
not a flattering one.
He's doing the Yvonne Lendl back a few years ago.
Yeah. So we will not get that view on our screens because that's been covered up. The driving backhand hit high into the corner from Gauff. Gauff, though, is pushed back to the back of the baseline and then totally loses control of that backhand. She skews it out wide. And we've seen this, Coco, I don't know if you noticed it a couple of times, of Emma Radacanu just seeming to feel sort of the ab on the left side, lower down.
Yeah, she's been messing with it a little bit. I know she struggled with some back issues, and that could develop into a whole core issue, front and back, and we'll see how it affects her. It doesn't seem to have affected her on pace of serve or pace of her shot so far.
30-15, we'll keep an eye on it. She serves into the body of Gauff. It's 30-15 Radacanu. Gauff looking to come in, but she stays back, and then she drops that ball short, and the backhand thought about coming forward, but Radacanu retreats back and hits the forehand cross court. Out of court goes Gauff, up the line goes Radacanu, stretch on the backhand goes Gauff, and into the net. Game points Radacanu.
Yeah, I think she got burnt there because she hesitated about coming forward, backed away again, and then sort of had to play catch-up in that rally, and then was always chasing the balls down. Great strike from Emma Radacanu. She's so good at changing the direction of the ball from that cross-court down the line. It's like watching a practice drill.
And again, she was adjusting something on that left-hand side, whether it's a bit of tape under the top, whether it's something that's not fitting, whether it's a bit of discomfort. Game points. To keep it to just the one break of serve. Too much on that return of serve from Coco Gauff, who spins around to reach her towel, and Emma Radacanu keeps it to just the one break of serve in the second set.
Well, so important to keep the scoreline as tight as she can, because she dropped off a little bit there, big level drop, and needs to reset and find another gear and bring back the intensity, just to sort of keep Coco on her toes, really, and to sort of keep doubting herself down the other end, because she'll know that the quality that Radacanu can bring to any match call can just flick a switch and suddenly she's back in the match again, and that's really important, that last game.
Yeah, it certainly is, just to stay within touching distance of Coco Gauff. Try, Coco, and keep it as tight as possible throughout the course of the second set. So if Coco does blink, then Radacanu will be there to take advantage.
Absolutely. I mean, Emma has gotten into a bit of a rhythm right now. That was a great positive service game from her to be able to stay within touching distance. I liked her shot selections in that last game. She was able to change up with a drop shot. I mean, Coco is doing so well along the baseline. She's so quick. You have to keep her on her toes. You can't give her too much rhythm. You can't be a hitting partner out here.
It is turning into an absolute epic with Bianca Andreescu. As I say, I think Cameron Norrie should just go home now. 2 hours 48, and serving for the match for qualifier from Spain. Andreescu's got a point to break back and to go 5-all, and then who knows, if Fabio Fognini feels like it, maybe he'll fight back from 2 sets and a breakdown against Thanasi Kokkinakis, with Norrie being the 5th match on the Kia Arena. Tsitsipas will follow the conclusion of this contest. We'll have commentary for you on that one, and we'll keep you up to date with everything that's taking place. And if you're just joining us via BBC Sounds, the big news of the day is the defending champion is out. Rafa Nadal beaten in straight sets by Mackenzie McDonald, but it doesn't tell the story. He also battled with a hip problem that he had going into the match, but really came to the fore in the second set. He didn't retire, but he wasn't anywhere near where he should have been. Into the net goes Radacanu. She's annoyed with herself as she swings again at the forehand side. It was an opportunity, and it's 15-all.
The margin was just a little too low on that change of direction. I know Emma does it so well, and she has been doing it so well, but every time it gets closer and deeper into this match, the margins get smaller and smaller. She's got to keep the good height over the net, even on the change of direction shots.
15 all. Nighttime in Melbourne. Ace from Gauff.
Wow, that was a huge serve, wasn't it? I think Emma was moving forward with the split step. I think she was expecting that one out wide. And that was just rifled through the court. Real accuracy.
30-15, 3-2. Serve down the tee again,
Really
serving big.
Yeah.
Serving really big right now.
It must be difficult for Radacanu, sort of, as we know, she has such a great return of serve, but Gauff has so many different ways that serve comes out of the strings. It's either sort of top spin, as Coco's been talking about. Yet another one. What a service game that was. You know, but the trajectory that comes out of the strings is constantly changing, or she decides to flatten it out. Those were 3 big serves back to back. Not quite sure what's coming. Radacanu guessing.
Oh, Coco fan getting very excited in the crowd there. Just lead by a set.
Can't be all Commonwealth out here. There's got to be a few Americans lurking around.
They definitely both have their fans out there. Serve down the tee from Radacanu. Back through the middle from the Brit, and she's still playing through the centre of the forehand. The slice off the backhand from Gauff. Gauff, goes drop shot. Doesn't make it. Looks up to her box to say, what was that? Yeah,
where did that come from? I mean, it was, another rally where they were both going down the centre. I guess there wasn't too much pace on Radacanu's shots. Gauff thought she might just change it up, but how she'd love to keep, the pressure on Radacanu, go for another break here to try to serve out the match.
Radacanu serves down the tee, the forehand through the middle and deep. The forehand cross-court to the serve sign from Radacanu. Hits the forehand down the line to the backhand through the centre. Inside in goes Radacanu. Forehand whipped cross-court from Gauff. Gauff with another forehand redirects it down the line, clips the net. Back up the line, the backhand from Radacanu. Double-hander Radacanu through the centre. Backhand into the corner from Gauff. Backhand down the line from Radacanu. Forehand whip cross-court from Gauff. Gauff picks up the forehand, goes up the line, drops it into the mid-court, drops over from Radacanu, into the net from Gauff.
Well, I don't know how you saw that rally, Coco, but for me, Radacanu wasn't putting too much pressure on Gauff. She was landing the ball pretty short. She wasn't going close to the lines, but just deciding to play a really solid point, not try and do too much, and that was enough.
Absolutely. And what I like so much about when Emma is hitting up the middle, especially when it's dictated more into Coco's forehand, when you have that extreme of a grip and it is your weaker side, it's so much harder to find angles and open up the court, which is what Coco likes to do.
30 love, 2-4. Radacanu with the serve out wide. She takes Gauff out of court, so she plays the 1-2. Gauff slides into that backhand. It drops over it short. Radacanu's at the net. The lob is up from Gauff, and it's a winner.
Emma has to come in on those shots. She hit such a fantastic shot to Coco's backhand. Coco was sliding into it with a slice. She's got to come forward and take that ball out of the air. Because she let that ball bounce and hit an approach shot, Coco had time to hit the next ball and hit a fantastic lob.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. You saw that point. I think you're right. She just hesitated, didn't want to come forward, but Coco was in a very defensive position, and that floated ball was there, wasn't it, for the taking?
30-15, serve into the body of Gauff. The forehand, that's a looping ball, sits up high, pushes Gauff back. Backhand cross-court from Radacanu. Radacanu with the backhand down the line into the mid-court. The forehand a little bit wayward from Gauff. Game points for Radacanu, and confirmation that the nearly 3-hour match between Andreescu and Buska is over, and it is the qualifier, Kristina Buska, who has beaten Bianca Andreescu. Andreescu looked so confident that first set. She took it 6-2, but 7-6, 6-4. The follow-up sets, the world number 102 gets the win after Andreescu had a match point in that second set tiebreak. So that is done, and next up will be the resumption of the match between Thanasi Kokkinakis, Fabio Fognini. Kokkinakis 2 sets, 4-2, and points for 5-2. The winner to face Andy Murray. So we'll keep an eye on everything that's taking place as there's a service return winner right into the wheelhouse of Gauff to keep the game alive.
40-30.
Saw that like a beach ball, Gauff.
Yeah, great preparation, wasn't it? Not too much on that serve either. Sitting right up into that strike zone, and Gauff taking full advantage.
She's still got a game point here, Radacanu, to close it out. Again, she started the motion of the ball toss and then reset herself. An hour and 10 minutes on the match clock. Serves down the tee. Gauff with a looping forehand that just nudges the back edge of the baseline. A backhand. This is another one. It sits up a little bit too loopy. Misses the court. The look from Radacanu towards her box. She keeps it to one breaker serve, but Gauff leading by a set and a break. So Ross Andriescu is no more. What else is taking place? What else can you tell us about what's happening right now?
Well, not a good day for Grand Slam champions on the women's side, because Petra Kvitova was beaten earlier by Angelina Kalinina, and Sloane Stephens has gone out to Anastasia Potapova. So no luck for them there. On court right now, Daniil Medvedev a break up again for the second time in the set. 5-4 first set against John Millman on the Margaret Court Arena. Karen Khachanov leads Jason Kubler by 2-1, despite Kubler winning that 70-shot rallier to break earlier in the set. The battle of the qualifiers between Vukic and Holt into a fifth set, 3 games all, and Adrian Manarino now 2-1 up on John Isner, having won the third set 6-2. I see also that Roberto Bautista Agut is a recent winner, the 24th seed, coming through easily for the loss of just 7 games against João Sousa of Portugal.
It's a busy day, isn't it? We're not going to run out of things to tell you about. There was a result, I'm just checking if she won or lost earlier today. Yelena Ostapenko, she was a set-up, she split sets with Anna Bondar, but she came through 6-love in the third. I'm just checking that because in that top quarter, the Iga Swiatek quarter, we've lost Andriescu. Paolo Badosa pulled out before the tournament started. Danielle Collins plays later. We're going to lose one of Radacanu or Gauff, but Ostapenko's still in there, and Rybakina is in there as well. So that's that top quarter of the draw. 4-3, Gauff with the break. Misses out wide. Ballboy scuttles along there, the squeaky shoes you heard behind Radacanu, who's planted her feet on the baseline, inside the baseline, hits the backhand, not as cleanly as she'd like to have struck it. The backhand cross court to the backhand, netted from Gauff.
She's looking a little tense, Gauff, even though she's in control of this match. Just set up, she was 4-2 up, now back at 4-3. But I've just noticed her looking across rather forlornly at her support camp and looking for some extra help out here. She's feeling a bit of pressure, I think.
Sits up on the sidelines, the forehand flipped cross court, the drop shot play, but she knew she had to follow it in, Gauff, and she knew it wasn't the best of shots to play as Radacanu charged forward and slammed it away.
I think she might have to ditch this drop shot tactic that she's sort of brought into play, because she hasn't won one of them. And that just sat up really invitingly.
I think that's just a factor of Emma just breaking down that forehand. She's run out of options as to what she wants to hit, so here comes a drop shot.
Love 30, window of opportunity widening for the British player. Gauff settles, reaches, tosses the ball and nets.
She's feeling it at the moment. Definitely the wheels are coming off rather rapidly at the moment. Needs to reset Coco Gauff and sort of find some positivity again. She's played such a beautiful match so far, and all of a sudden there's some doubt creeping in, and Emma will be able to sense that.
Forehand from Radacanu through the middle. This to get us back on serve in the second set. It's good and deep from Gauff. And gets the short ball, but the follow-up from the mid-court is into the net. And Emma Radacanu breaks Coco Gauff to love for 4-all.
Well, I think she's just been given a help. I mean, a lot of these errors, the drop shots, the double fault, you know, everything is just unravelling down the other end. And it's just given her a boost, and it's brought her intensity level back up.
Well, it definitely shows. You keep yourself just one break down, anything can happen. You're getting close to the nitty-gritty of the end of the second set, and Coco just showed a little bit of a crack in the armor there.
Took advantage, Radacanu, back on serve, hour and 14 minutes, 8:30 in the evening on Wednesday in Melbourne. The big serve out wide, a looping forehand back from Gauff. Gauff flattens out the backhand cross court onto the service line. Gauff opens up her forehand and just plays it mid-court, took pace off the ball and drew the error from Radacanu.
Yeah, I think Radacanu will be a little bit miffed about missing that one. It was a fairly routine rally ball. It was sitting up nicely and just went for a little bit too much.
Radacanu just taking her time, adjusting the visor, running her hand through the ponytail as Gauff waits and sways that upper body, eyes staring straight ahead as Radacanu serves into the centre of the box. The forehand up the line, the forehand whipped cross court with both feet off the air from Radacanu, who sits up and bounces that backhand and slams the fist afterwards. Delighted with that.
Really positive point. Radacanu, the one that was making the play, taking her tennis to Coco Gauff, getting a really good direction with that forehand deep into that corner and then opening up the court and finishing off with a winner. Really positive point.
As a young man, he's got a homemade poster that says, "Come on, Emma," with a big trophy and a big yellow ball drawn on it. Good work by that young man. The forehand drops short up the line from Gauff. Gauff is being pushed back. Radacanu's on the attack. She's come forward. Can she volley away? Yes, she can.
Absolutely beautiful. She had time. She measured every shot so well there. And again, just beating into Coco's forehand. And Coco doesn't seem to have an answer as of right now of how to handle it.
No, it's very hesitant, very pushy, that forehand, and it's really not doing any damage down the other end. Radacanu with a lot more pace on the ball and pushing Coco Gauff backwards quite a bit.
30-15. Hold here. She goes ahead on serve and will put even more pressure on Coco Gauff, who next up will have to serve to stay in the set. A looping ball that sips up. The forehand down the line from Gauff. Gauff with the backhand flattens it out down the line. She's on the baseline, Gauff, but she nets. The errors continue to come off the forehand wing from the American, and Radacanu brings up game points.
15.
Well, it's becoming a problem, and it's getting into Coco Gauff's head, and that one was not smooth at all. She didn't really follow through. It doesn't release on it. It looks very elbowy and tight and really hesitant, very pushed rather than sort of really releasing and flowing.
Game points for 5-4. Radacanu serves down the tee. Deep return from Gauff. Gauff cuts under and slices that backhand. The backhand played double-handed up the line. The error again from the American. And we have had a shift in momentum on the Rod Laver Arena. The first time in this second set, Radacanu has the lead. She's on serve and is 5-4. And Coco Gauff, Coco Vanderwey, Coco Gauff now struggling. The errors coming off the forehand side, but isn't it amazing? We always say this in commentary, how quickly the momentum can shift in tennis.
Absolutely. Coco Gauff almost had at least 10-12 errors in those last 3 games, where before Emma was definitely racking up the unforced errors in every one of her service games and return games. But what I find so fascinating is when Coco Gauff had the lead, had the momentum, she gets just slightly complacent, just slightly happy with, retrieving, running the balls down instead of doing what got her there. And I find that very interesting. And now it's now hurting her. It's hurting her because now with the lack of confidence in the forehand and Emma continuing to pick on it, she's not able to get to her favorite side, the backhand. She's falling off her forehand, which isn't getting her any pace. It's not dictating and doing anything to hurt Emma off of the baseline, and Emma's handling every shot that's coming her way.
Let's go, Emma. Another poster that's being held aloft inside the Rod Laver Arena. Pressure on. The world number 7 serving to stay in the second set at 4-5. Gets a deep serve out wide. You heard the follow-up come on from the American.
Yeah, real determination behind that last service delivery. I think she's trying to reset herself and try and stay positive rather than getting into a negative mindset, which has just happened over the last 2 or 3 games.
Gauff serves down there. Oh, it's a couple of big serves coming out exactly when she needs them.
Well, she served beautifully in this match. I mean, really sort of great direction on it. And that's also the other area that she's had to work so hard on. When those double faults used to just flow, and she had a problem with it, but she's really worked hard to sort of overcome that.
30-15.
30-15, 4-5. Radacanu just pacing backwards and forwards, getting herself into position, leaning forward, just rocking from side to side as Gauff reaches up and serves down the tee, and the off forehand return into the backhand wing from Radacanu. That ball sits up and it's deep and it drops short from Gauff, and it's missed cross court from Radacanu, and it's game points Gauff to level us up at 5-all.
I think Emma was just a little overzealous on that one. The eyes got a little big, saw the moment in front of her and just pushed that ball wide.
To get us all square in this second set, this second round match. First serve missed by the 18-year-old out wide. Just a 4th appearance at the Australian Open.
Well, maybe I spoke too soon about the serve problems, because there was that period of time, it was a couple of years ago now, and even a little bit last year, where, just a bunch of double faults in every single match. And there's It's sort of crept in a tiny bit in this one, but on the whole, I'd say she served pretty well.
Definitely, she's kind of changed her technique a little bit. Before it was kind of a weird drop in her shoulder, what we would call kind of a waitress serve, where they're holding the plate of dinner, and now she's kind of cleaned that up and has been able to have a better delivery on both her first and second serve.
3 double faults for the match for Coco Gauff, 2 of them in this second set to match the 3 aces that she's put down. But under some pressure here now. 4-5 deuce. Misses the first serve out wide. Got a 50% return when she makes the second serve in this match. Second serve sits up, the forehand back to the feet of Gauff, who's down on her haunches with that backhand. Now the forehand, I'd say looping, loose ball from Coco Gauff, and with it, she hands Emma Radacanu set points.
I mean, I just thought that was a horrible shot, to be honest with you. Good pace on it from Radacanu, but I mean, it just flew off the strings, and you could see she was trying technically to roll up the back of the ball, give herself some more loft on it and some more spin, but really hesitant. I mean, just horrible.
So are we going the distance in this second round match? Set point Radacanu, and she's got a second serve to look at. Radacanu steps inside the baseline, putting pressure on Coco Gauff, trying to draw another double fault. She steps in, she hits the backhand to the feet of Gauff, who's on her haunches through the middle of the court. The forehand whip deep, a loose high ball again from Gauff. It's a high deep ball from Radacanu. Radacanu flattens out the backhand through the middle. It is set point Radacanu who approaches on the backhand, but she misses. She stepped inside the baseline, she hit the high backhand, and she balloons it past the baseline.
Well, even those last 3 forehands, I mean, they were getting shorter and shorter. She doesn't really want to hit through it. I mean, she looks so uncomfortable on that side. Radacanu knows it. She's doing a good job targeting it, but just unfortunately for her, missed that last ball. But yeah, there's a lot going on with the forehand at the moment.
I mean, she was almost giving it a clearance of the height of the chair umpire. I mean, it was crazy how much clearance and margin she was giving herself.
Deuce, set point is saved. Radacanu coming in to take this serve early as well. She gets a lovely angle off the return. It's into the net on the slide from Gauff, and it's set point number 2 for Radacanu.
But it's a horrible feeling, isn't it? If you feel like technically there's something missing in your game, that her whole focus and mind will be about that side, that forehand swing at the moment, rather than tactically, what does she want to be doing out here? At the moment, I feel like she's just trying to, it's hit and hope at the moment with that forehand.
Needs this first serve. She gets it. The backhand cross got down on her haunches again with the backhand up the line, and Radacanu scoops that ball, just gets it in. Radacanu goes drop shot, doesn't make it. Set point saved.
Oh, that was actually a really good decision. It was very nearly a good drop shot. Gauff would have been struggling to get to that one because it was a change of direction, just didn't quite get enough height on it. I thought the set was nearly done then.
2 set points for Emma Radacanu have come and gone. 4-5 deuce. Gauff ready with the serve. Gets the first serve into the corner. It comes back to the forehand wing that she redirects up the line. Cross court, the backhand goes Radacanu. Radacanu with the forehand drops that one short. The slice off the forehand from Gauff, and Gauff flattens out that forehand. The backhand down the line, and Gauff with the forehand. She's getting more and more forehands. Radacanu saying, "Go on, give me an air off the forehand side," but it's the error off the racket of Radacanu, and now it's game point Gauff.
Oh man, Emma almost got that air. It was there for the taking. That ball was a bit of a miss hit, and those are always hard to handle when they're up high. They're kind of dead, no pace. You have to recreate all the pace yourself, whether it's with your legs or the racket head speed.
My word. Point for Gauff to level us at 5-all. Backhand cross court return off the serve into the net. The game continues.
Yes.
1 hour, 24 minutes on the match clock. There's tension in the boxes, there's tension on the court. No expression from Sebastian Sachs, the coach of Emma Radacanu. Gives nothing away, that man. Out wide with the serve from Coco Gauff, comes back deep, pushes her backward, she comes forward, she takes this ball, she drives it out of the air, but she played it safe. She has to play a follow-up volley. Here comes Radacanu, there is Gauff! Reflex volley, gets it into the court, game point.
Well, that's the first forehand I've seen her hit, the second shot of this last rally, where she actually positively struck it and then realised she could come forward, and I think she didn't want to play too many more from the back there, so a really good point construction from Coco Gauff. forcing herself to try to be positive.
Even with that drive volley, she played it kind of safe.
It was a bit tentative, wasn't it?
Oh, misses the first serve by a way. So Radacanu says, right, I'm going to step up and in. So anything short, I'm going to clobber away, or I'll just draw another fault from you. Here comes Radacanu, little shuffle, swings it, takes it on the forehand side. She's got Gauff on the back foot. Now Gauff gets a backhand and keeps it, and play goes backhand down the line from Radacanu. Up line, the forehand goes Gauff. Gauff has to play another forward. She doesn't want to, but she has to. Radacanu comes forward on a short ball into the corner. Another forehand from Gauff. She gets the error from Gauff off the forehand side. She's pummeling the forehand side of the American, and it's juice.
She's doing
Emma again
right,
just taking advantage of that second serve. It's so great to see. She kept that ball, took it line to Coco's forehand, keeping the ball out in front of her. That's such a great play when you're facing a second serve.
Coming up to 8 minutes of game number 10, set number 2. We've had 2 set points for Radacanu. Gauff now with the serve. That's a good big serve. She's still got work to do, Gauff. There we go. There was a roar as she struck that high ball. It wasn't coming back anytime soon. Dad and Mum happy, game point.
Advantage Gauff.
Great determination from Coco Gauff. I mean, she's struggling so much with her confidence on that forehand side at the moment, but she's making up for it in other ways, isn't she, with trying to channel it into getting a good first serve in, coming forward. Let out a big roar after that.
Game point. Serves down the tee. Into the net it goes, and we play on in this second set. That did take guts from Coco Gauff. She had to fend off 2 set points. She knew the ball was coming again and again onto the forehand side, but Coco Vandeweghe, she stood firm, and here we are at 5 games all, second set.
Absolutely. That took some guts and some grit. Definitely Coco did not look like she was going to win that service game. Emma looked like she had every bit of momentum. That drop shot might come back to haunt her that she tried to play.
And that roar, that guttural roar from Gauff at the end when she had held. So it's all square. It is 5 games all. Radacanu serving down the tee and clipping the net. Couple of bounces. Look forward, the slight pause, the rock forward, the reach back, the toss of the ball, the serve down the tee, and once again clipping the top of the tape. So she's had enough of that ball. She gave it a couple of opportunities. She'll take a new one from the ball boy at the back of the court. Getting game number 11 underway. She was persisting down the tee, but that time she found the net. Everything is still and silent as she serves out wide. Gauff steps in off the forehand side. Now Gauff with a double-hander backhand, the double-hander Radacanu down the line to the forehand through the middle from Gauff, and in comes Radacanu, who now suddenly retreats. He is still inside the baseline, hits the backhand. It was too good, it was too accurate, and it wins her the point.
Yeah, I just feel that watching, I know we're hammering away at this forehand side, but it's just, it's not doing any damage. She can't hurt Radacanu, and Radacanu knows that, so she's tactically just hammering away at it. But it always feels like you're watching someone with just half the repertoire out there at the moment.
15 love, 5 all.
30 love.
Ace out wide, and that is a first ace of the match for Radacanu.
Wouldn't you say, Annabelle, when you're feeling tight on a wing, wouldn't you want to, at this moment, you're all tied up, returning, at least give yourself a few swings at it just to kind of loosen up again?
Yeah, just really go for it, release the racket, and just try and get that forehand going. And even there, you see a mid-court ball, and she just doesn't trust it. And it's painful to watch, actually, when you see somebody struggling so much, because you know it's all coming from the mind, and it's always been there with her. Even when we first saw her as a junior, you know, everyone knew that technically it was not a very sound shot. And, you know, this is a pretty pressure moment. I think hats off to Emma to get it to that point where she's so doubtful on it.
Game points for Radacanu for 6-5 in the second set, with Coco Gauff, if you're just joining us via BBC Sounds, having taken the first set by 6 games to 3. This time it's the backhand that breaks down for Gauff. That is a love hold for Emma Radacanu. So Coco, you are Coco Gauff, sitting down at this change. You're at 6s and 7s when it comes to your forward. What do you do? What can you say? How can you try and change things? Because we know the game plan of Radacanu. She's going to keep peppering the forehand side of the American.
Absolutely, and I think the best thing for Coco Gauff to do is just to hit high percentage balls. She's trying to take this forehand down the line to Emma's backhand, obviously hoping that Emma is going to go cross court with it and get into the backhand rallies. Emma's saying, I'm not doing that. I'm going to keep going into this forehand that's obviously breaking down to an extent that we haven't seen in a very long time. So maybe Coco goes more into the bigger part of the court, a cross-court shot, and if Emma decides to then keep peppering it into the forehand, at least Coco has some more space to hit into with the cross-court ball.
24 unforced errors in this second set from Gauff.
Time.
15 through the first. And now more pressure, because she knows where this ball is going to be coming back to more often than not as she steps up to serve to stay in the set for a second time at 5-6.
Yeah, it's almost a situation where I've heard coaches come on when they used to be able to come on court, and sometimes when a player is struggling with a ball, they'll say, right, just think about the drills we do. You know, take your mind away from what's going on with the match and the score line.
Thank you.
You know, just think about the drills and where you're aiming. You have to try and trick the brain. And at the moment, the brain is taking over on her forehand.
5-6, serve out wide, comes back to the forehand of Gauff. He just places that forehand over. Another forehand from Gauff, this time a little bit more air, sits up, and a looping forehand, and she's having another go on the forehand. She might actually start warming up the forehand of Gauff if you're not careful. Now she switches it to the backhand side and draws the error because she goes long.
Well, she's won that point, but again, it was very short, it wasn't doing any damage, it wasn't hurting, and she was giving herself so much margin on it. So she can't beat Emma Radacanu with that forehand side, other than if she's going to get errors.
5-6, 15 love. Hold here. We go in to the tie-break. 2 points from that taking place. A tie-break that if Gauff wins, she will be through to the third round.
It's why this sport is so incredibly mental. I mean, it's all about what's going on inside the head of the player, and it's how players manage that and try to sort of control that sort of second voice that's in your head.
I can imagine it could be a lonely place out there, especially on something like the Rod Laver Arena. Radacanu's at the net, she volleys away, she crunches at a high forehand volley away, and she's on the board in game 12.
30-15.
That's a better example of Emma not allowing Coco to just go high and spinny. She's like, okay, fine, you're going to leave the ball a little bit short. I'm going to come in and take the ball and have a first volley, and she put it away. Excellent job.
30-15, serve down the tee. Gauff with the backhand through the middle of the court. The forehand hooked into the corner, into the forehand wing down the line from Gauff. Cross-court backhand, took control of that point from the off. Radacanu levels up at 30-all. She is 2 points from the set.
Well, as Coco in the box had explained, you know, that last forehand that Gauff hit, you know, she didn't really transfer the weight very much. There was nothing on this ball at all. She's going backwards when she hits it. It lands on the service line. I mean, that's meat and potatoes for Radacanu.
Oh, but there's the roar from Gauff. The serve did what it needed to do, and it is game point.
40-30.
Even her mum, Candy, can't really watch at the moment. She's bowed down with her head. I think she's living through excruciation at the moment with this match.
Point for the tiebreak. I can't imagine being a parent in a situation like this, and your child, still a child at 18, is one of the biggest tennis courts in the world. Crunch back from Radacanu. Radacanu game point for the tiebreak. Goes, swings the backhand cross court. Gauff keeps it in play. Radacanu's in control. Can Gauff settle herself and reassert herself? Yes, she can. She turns it around. She wins the point. She gets a fist pump from mum, and it's a second set tiebreak.
That's just an unfortunate example of Emma not willing to come forward. She does have those easier balls. She might have to start learning, or at least convincing herself, I gotta take this ball out of the air. I gotta stop letting Coco have so much time to get back into the point.
Tiebreak time to decide the set and quite possibly the match. Rod Laver Arena, night session, roof is closed, weather hasn't been great. And it's Emma Radacanu to get us underway in this tiebreak, and she serves big and too big down the tee and sort of slaps that ball away to the ball girl at the net. Has the other ball from the shorts on the left-hand side. Gauff steps up to the baseline, wants to get a little early advantage in this tie break. The forehand from Gauff, she knows it's coming back there time after time. She's pushed back to the Melbourne side. Another forehand from Gauff, just placing that ball in onto the service line. Backhand from Gauff through the middle of the court. The forehand deep from Radacanu, who swings the backhand cross court. She's got Gauff on the run. She's got her on the stretch. Gauff has to reset herself to the backhand side, but she cannot because the ball goes behind her, and Radacanu takes the point.
Yeah, well, she looks the better player right now. I mean, she's got way more on her shots. She's doing more with the ball. She's moving it around. She's tactically being incredibly smart to keep on hammering away the forehand. But she's forcing Coco Gauff to come away from how she wants to be playing. She's not allowing her to play her best tennis. She's not allowing her on the front foot. Bit of a grimace there from Radacanu. She's still holding that left ab, isn't she?
Gauff with the backhand, spins into the corner. She's pushed Radacanu back, she's come forward, she goes backhand cross court on the angle, gets the angle she was looking for, and it's a point apiece.
Yeah, tennis is all about how you handle the plan B. Of course, we all want to have our plan A game, go through every match 6-0, 6-0, but it's how you're handling the plan B. And right now, Coco's not showing us what she's willing to do with a plan B. What is her plan B right now?
Hour and 36, coming up to 5 to 9 in the evening, a point apiece. Good serve and an excellent return from Radacanu. Somehow Coco Gauff finds the court, and the rally continues to both players resettle at the back of the court. Forehand on the slide from Gauff. Gauff now the double-handed backhand, cross court to the inside in from Radacanu. The forehand sits up, looping and short and brought down, flattened out by Radacanu, who slams the backhand to the squash shot of Coco Gauff, who then squash shots. Again, she's so far out of court. The backhand goes back, but it was the right idea, but the wrong execution from Radacanu, who'd done all the work.
She really had. She played the better point there, to be honest with you, and she had Coco Gauff pushed behind that baseline. It was like watching a boxer, with the punch bag, just unleashing the punches out there. And somehow the athletic ability of Gauff got her in that point, kept her in play. I mean, she was all over the place, wasn't she? But finally missing that shot. And I think Coco up there in the box, I think you've got it right. I think Radacanu just hesitant to come forward when she has her player on the ropes down the other end.
2-1 with a mini break for Coco Gauff. Another holding of the side on the ab for Radacanu, who's run down the shot clock as she reaches up now and serves. She's just taking a little bit more extra time. Gauff on the attack, comes forward the forehand. It clips top of the net. It goes wide. She cannot believe her luck, and it's 2 points apiece.
I mean, sometimes I know I'm harping on this, Emma coming forward and taking balls instead of allowing it to be more of an approach shot, or at least allowing the balls to bounce. But sometimes you just want to go home at night, get in your bed and be like, okay, I took every opportunity. I didn't allow my opponent to get back into this match.
2 points all, 6 games all. Radacanu out wide. The forehand is in play. Another forehand for Gauff. I'm not sure why she goes to the backhand side, because it's always coming back to the forehand side, and in Radacanu's urgency to get it back to the forehand side, she nets.
Well, that was one of the better forehands I've seen in at least about half an hour, particularly off that return. And sometimes when a ball comes fast at you and you just are playing reactionary and on pure instinct, you don't have time to think about it too much. And that was a much better return, and then a follow-up forehand which had a lot more impact through the court. So how on earth she's got herself into this lead in the tie-break is anyone's guess, but she's been a little bit fortunate. Must be, I feel like she's wrestling with herself all the way through this match at the moment.
3-2. Gauff took the first set by 6 games to 3. An hour and 38 minutes on the match clock. The serve down the tee, the return through the middle of the court on the back foot there. Gauff cuts under, slices that ball. It tries to draw Radacanu in, but Radacanu stays on the baseline. Cross court with the backhand goes the Brit. The Brit with the backhand goes back to the backhand. The stretch on the backhand from Gauff. Short ball for Radacanu to go off forehand, but she misses. It is wide, and it's now 4-2 for Coco Gauff.
And poor Mum Candy, she's got her head in her hands. I mean, she just can't watch. You can just imagine what she's going through. But you have to admire Coco's character out here. And this is why I keep saying, she's 7 in the world. She's had lots of moments like this in matches where things have not been going her way. But she's a great, great fighter. And, she's a problem solver. She's got a big jigsaw puzzle in front of her at the moment, and she's doing a great job of just trying to hang in there and compete and somehow get herself towards the finish line. Which is 3 points away, but that will seem like a very long distance at the moment.
But all those qualities you've outlined for Coco Gauff, which is why many people are tipping her as a future world #1 and a Grand Slam champion. Still just 18 years of age up against a 20-year-old Emma Radacanu, but it's advantage Gauff now with the set and the 4-2 lead and the tiebreak. Gauff with the forehand drops into the middle of the court. The backhand is deep back to the forehand from Radacanu. Radacanu punches again into the forehand wing, and that forehand sits up short from Gauff. Gauff flattens at the backhand down the line. The forehand flip cross court from Radacanu. Up the line goes Gauff, who thought about coming in but stays back with the backhand cross court to the backhand. Hits the top of the net, back her own side, Radacanu. She cannot believe it. It is 5-2 Gauff.
Oh man, she's just not getting on the winning end of these longer rallies. She's doing everything possible. She's doing all the right things, but sometimes tennis is a cruel, cruel sport, and she's just not getting on the winning end of things.
2-5, Radacanu to serve. Gauff waits, swaying like there's a breeze pushing her from side to side. But the roof is on the Rod Laver Arena as the rain has been falling. The serve goes down the tee and the forehand snap back through the middle. Cross court into the corner. The stretch on the backhand from Gauff. You could see the play. She was trying to switch it into the corner off the forehand side, but she misses. And now Coco Gauff has 4 match points.
6-2.
Yeah, that missed by quite a distance. Just trying to put the extra power through the court. Just came off it. Almost felt like she pulled her right hip across there as she played that forehand. Somehow Gauff has hauled herself towards these 4 match points.
On the Radacanu serve will be the first. Radacanu serves out wide and misses. An hour and 41 minutes on the match clock. Match points for the world number 7, Coco Gauff, who waits and pauses and is now ready. Second serve, 2-6 down, Radacanu. Serves out wide. Gauff snaps the forehand back. The forehand is flattened out cross court from Radacanu. Radacanu settles for the backhand, goes down the line, back behind Gauff for a winner and to save the first of the match points.
Oh, that was beautiful, wasn't it? You can see backhands down the line much better than that one.
6-3.
Especially down match point. Still grimacing.
Now 2 points on the Gauff serve and 2 more match points on her serve at this stage. She had 4 in total. The first one has been saved. There is a little grimace there on the face of Emma Radacanu holding that ab again. But Gauff focuses on the serve at match point 6-3. Serves into the body. Radacanu pulls out the return. The backhand is netted from Gauff at the net, and the second match point is gone.
Well, it was a terrific serve, wasn't it? Right at the body of Radacanu, who did well to get that ball back into play. She had that ball exactly where she wanted it, Gauff, and just was a bit too over-eager, snatched at it, and she's rushing a bit here, trying to quick get it back into play.
Match point number 3. This one's on her serve. Serve out wide. The forehand sits up for the backhand down the line from Gauff. Gauff with a double-handed backhand into the corner. The forehand flip cross court from Radacanu. The drop shot from Gauff. Here comes Radacanu. Can she get it? It's protected by Gauff, and Radacanu runs back. She slams the forehand, but it's netted. And it is game, set and match to a delighted world number 7, Coco Gauff. She's done it in straight sets, but that doesn't tell the tale of a match. It was a tough, hard-fought tussle, especially in that second set. But it's Coco Gauff who gets over the line in this first meeting between the two. We hope it's going to be a great rivalry in years to come. But Coco Gauff is a winner in straight sets against Emma Radacanu, 6-3, 7-6. Annabelle Croft.
Wow, I think we have to take our breath after that one, and I think you only had to see the reaction when she won, just how much tension had built up inside her, and there was a massive release and a roar as she was so thrilled to get herself across the line and battling some inner demons there, I think, in terms of what was going on with her forehand side. And one of those situations you have to admire how she really gritted her teeth and found her way across the line. But for so much of that second set, I felt like Radacanu was the better player, but she'll be a bit disappointed with the way that things turned out in that second set and those set points that came and went. Coco in the box talked about the drop shot that may come back to haunt her a little bit when she had that set point, but I think it shows you Radacanu is really, really close to this top level. She's just pushed the number 7 in the world, and you know, she's really not too far away.
She makes her way down the corridor of champions. We'll hear from Coco Gauff very shortly, but such strong fight in the mentality we saw there from Coco Gauff to pull herself across the finish line. And that delight, that roar at the end, the look towards her box. She did it, she's done it. She's in the Iga Świątek section of the draw, and she is waiting to speak to the Rod Laver Arena crowd.
Congratulations, Coco. That was such a fun match.
Speaking to
from
Laura
both
Robson.
of you. You both played excellent tennis, but you were able to come up with something clutch in those tight moments in the second set. What did you tell yourself?
I just told myself to hang in there. Emma was playing really good tennis towards the end of the match, and honestly, the whole match was great. In the beginning, I think we both started off rocky, but I think the match was good quality for the most part. And considering the circumstances, I can imagine both of us was nervous. This was a long-anticipated matchup, basically since the draw came out. So I'm glad that it was a good match for you guys.
Very good. You speak a little bit about that anticipation, the build-up. It was the match that everyone was hoping for when the draw came out. Is that a lot to handle? How do you even prepare for a match like this?
I think the Grand Slam, you have to win 7 matches, and when you go into the tournament, you have to expect to play the best. And obviously, you hope it's not in the second round, but that's what can you do. And I'm glad both of us were able to just I feel like we handled the pressure pretty well. And kudos to Emma. I know she had a tough week in Auckland, so really good for her to be able to play this level after such a, I guess, scary moment.
And you're only 18. You're only 18. Somehow coming into a match like this, you feel like the veteran. What does an 18 do on their day off tomorrow?
I don't know if I'll have doubles tomorrow. I know with the rain, without rain we're supposed to, so I don't know what the schedule looks like tomorrow. So probably doubles, but if not, playing cards with my parents or embarrassing them on TikTok. I posted a video on them online and it got like 1 million views. And basically everybody was hating on my dad in the comments. So I kind of felt bad, but at the same time, parents really do anything for their kids. So I'm glad my dad took one for the team.
Everyone's now going to go watch that video. So who's the better dancer out of the three of you?
Probably my mom. At least that's what the comments said. They said my mom ate both of us up, and I was like, dang. And I think a lot of people asked just a solo video of her. I'm like, this is my account. Like, no, I'm the star. How I get outshine in my own TikTok?
We'll let you get back to making TikToks and get ready for the next match. Congratulations to Coco Gauff.
Coco Gauff, I've got to say, Annabelle, that Dad looked a wee bit embarrassed when they were talking about the TikTok and the dancing.
Yeah, he did. But they're such a sweet team, aren't they? The support that they give her on the sidelines, and clearly such a tight unit. And she really needs her parents there. I think she just absolutely adores them. And she said if she's not playing doubles, she'll be playing cards with them or doing more TikTok videos.
That seems to be key, doesn't it, Coco Vandeweghe, that they have this tight-knit group around it. It's such an important thing to have people you trust around you, and they just seem to have, they work really hard, but they just seem to have fun, and she has ways to relax outside of tennis as well.
Yes, I think that's the best thing that her family has been able to achieve within, the whole core group with her 2 younger brothers, is they allow Coco to still be a teenager. And that's so hard to believe for us looking into it, because we see her as such a composed, poised, mature person out on the court. So to have her kind of break off and be a goofy teenager and haze her parents out there online, it's fun to see.
She's just taking some selfies. I mean, people are just handing their phones down to her, as well as those big inflated balls and towels and things. And
oh, she's so popular. And there's a very sweet little boy who keeps shouting at her, please can I have your towel? Please can I have your towel?
Is that the boy who she gave a little sweatband to?
Yes, I think so. But she's got so many to sign there, and she keeps putting up the number 2, I think, which means 2 wins so far out of the 7 required to win this. But I think she's unbelievably grounded. I just find her absolutely fascinating, and got a wonderful personality which really connects with people. As you could see, they're making that whole arena burst into laughter with the way that she communicates with people, and not just with her tennis but with her personality as well.
Coco, how was she? Look, she went in as the world number 7. She went in as the favourite. She was expected to come out on top. But how do you think she will feel after how she played walking off court against Radacanu?
Well, I think she's going to be elated that she was able to get through that tough battle in a second round. As she said, you don't want to have too many tough battles, but if you get through them, it's always a positive outlook. Unfortunately, her and her team, you're not going to fix the forehand overnight today, but you're going to have to figure out a solution of how these opponents aren't going to be able to find her forehand as easily as Emma was able to today.
Russell Fuller watching on alongside Coco in the commentary box, and it seems like there's plenty. I know we saw a little bit of wincing. We hope that is nothing from Radacanu around the ab area, but it seems like there's plenty for Radacanu to build on from this.
Yeah, sign me up for episode 2. I thought that was fantastic, particularly the last 20 minutes. They were both hammering the ball, weren't they? That backhand cross-court of Radacanu, but the defence of Coco Gauff in the tiebreak in particular was just magnificent. And I'm so glad it finished like that, because after Gauff shaded the first set and then Radacanu went AWOL for a couple of games, I just thought it might peter out and it would be another Radacanu Grand Slam match that ended rather meekly. But once Gauff opened the door with that very poor service game of her own, Emma Radacanu did everything she could to come storming through and very, very nearly took us into a deciding set. She was going for a shot, and that is the way she wants to play. We know that, and it's a good start to the year, isn't it? Lost in the second round. Her ranking is 77, so only the top 64 are meant to reach the second round. I know it's a bit different with Radacanu because we know what she can do, but after the injury scare in Auckland, the practice that was affected, and then the draw against last year's Roland Garros runner-up on the 7th seed in the second round, I think she's going to be very pleased with the way she performed and the way she came back at the end. Of course, there's lots to work on. She needs to stay fit. That is the big thing now for Radacanu. I think we all feel if she gets a settled team and she stays fit for a few months on end and builds a volume of matches, then she's going to be somebody who nobody in the world wants to play. And that's what we're hoping to see over the next few months.